Welcome back to Teacher School Builders. If this is your first time, stop. This is one video in a series of videos designed to teach you how to start a school step by step from the ground up. It is designed to go hand in hand with an article that's linked below. However, if this is your first time, then you can start by watching a video here, maybe here, or wherever it shows above. If you don't know me, I am Cindy Lumpkin, a teacher who started her own school over 8 years ago. And now I help other teachers do the same thing. In today's video, which is a recording from the beta class that I did recently and decided not to turn this into a course, but to give it to you for free, we are discussing facilities and spaces that you can use to start your school or educational programming, as well as the stuff and technology you might use to get started. So if you haven't read this section or gotten down this far in the article, make sure you do that. All right, so let's go ahead on and jump into facilities. Okay, here we're gonna think about what type of building space is ideal for the school or learning environment that you are creating. At this point, you want to think about safety, you want to think about comfort, security. What kind of stuff do you need? What type of technology can you use to bring forth your vision? Remember, the type of space that you will be looking for should just fit your needs with where you are now and what type of program that you are hoping to start. So for instance, Q is doing a homeschool. So obviously this is something that can occur in a home. If you are not trying to necessarily get accredited right away, then zoning may not be a huge issue for you. You know, you just may have to make sure you're in a safe place that passes basic business codes. So the good thing about this is you don't have to think about the traditional school setting. And I think a lot of times when people have these visions of starting their own schools, because they don't see people doing this on a smaller scale, often they have mental blocks because they're thinking like, how can I pay millions of dollars for these places in order, you know, to have my school? So, you know, what I try to inspire is teachers doing micro schools. And so you don't need those types of things. Like there are even people who are doing school outside, outdoor school, right? I believe there's a woman in the group who basically she meets like through a Zoom type setting. And then when they meet up, they're doing things outside, they're hiking, they're experimenting in nature. So the possibilities are endless. All right, so let's go ahead on and go through this. For most part, there is no right or wrong way when you own your own school. And that's kind of basically what I was just talking about. Here's some examples of places where schools exist. They exist in office buildings, they exist in churches and homes. And then of course, you have your multi-million-dollar campuses, right? And prayerfully, we will grow into that if that's what we want. But you do not have to wait for that to start your vision and your dream of impacting young lives in your own school. How much room do you need? Think realistically about the size of your school and where you're starting with. This little place right now is going to be something bigger, and you never know what you're going to grow into until you take that first step, right? And of course, things have to be in place before you make that first step. But when you get the guts to take that step, or when you reach whatever plan you put in place to take that first step, you do it, and don't worry about what it looks like to others. As long as you got the people that you're supposed to be serving, that they're with you, then you go. Think about, do you need a kitchen or a lunch space, right? You don't need that, you know. All you need is a microwave and parents being okay with bringing lunches that may not have to be stored in a refrigerator, or you can get a refrigerator so that you can have some place to keep it cold and just, you know, warm food up in the microwave. Do you need space for PE or outdoors activities? Once again, I had a playground down the street, and we will often leave our school, take a walk, 2 or 3 blocks to the playground and they would run around and do whatever. So all this stuff does not have to be traditionally things that you have. I took my kids to the library. We didn't have a library at my school. Of course, I had books there for them to read, but we actually took field trips to the library, and and that counted as a field trip as well. And it just broke up some of the monotonous of staying in the class all day. So like, I cannot tell you how much creativity and thinking outside the box is really needed. The building you are in doesn't define the quality of your school or the opportunities you are able to provide for your students. Remember that. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick second and tell you about my upcoming coaching planner. So for those of you who are interested in starting a school and you're still working, this is going to be so helpful to you. So keep an eye out. It will be coming out soon. I will let you know. Security is a small detail that make a big difference. And in light of all that has been going on, you guys understand that, right? So we definitely want to think about drop-off pickup, how that looks. Once dropped off, how do students access your building? Will there be one main entrance or different ways to access the building? Will doors be locked after school? Will someone meet the child at the door, walk them to class? In Marva's case, I don't know if you have an elevator or stairs, but will you walk them up? Will parents be expected to park to bring them in, and so forth? Think about those things. Have plans for those things. How/where would visitors access the building? Does the building space comply with safety and accessibility requirements? What are your local codes for fire system, emergency exits, ADAD accessibility, location, number of bathrooms, and sinks, right? Make sure you have a good understanding what is required before you purchase a building or sign a lease for one. So furniture, what kind of stuff do you need? Furniture can entail a whole lot, right? You might need a file cabinet, student desk or chairs, teacher desk storage space, bookshelves, cabinets, cubbies, right? You may need some of these or all of these or none of them, right? Because it's the beauty of that you get to make it. I have a couch that has served me well. I've had it for years, and now that I am getting ready to transition, I'm not sure if I have space for it, but I cannot bring myself to let it go. So I might integrate it somehow in the space that we're going to be in, but it brought such a coziness to my room, right? So you might be like, I don't even want desk. There are some classrooms that don't have desks, right? So it's all up to you. The thing is, own whatever it is that you decide to do. If you're willing to have used items, local universities, colleges, and even school systems, hospitals, and large businesses sometimes offer older furniture at a steep discount. It's generally called their surplus. Matter of fact, I always bring up Tiffany. She's the one that did the presentation for you guys. She sent me a message. There's a university here in Georgia called Emory, and they were getting rid of their desks. Their desks are bigger than what the computers that they are currently using or whatever. And he tried to get them somewhere. Nobody wants them. And he was like, I need some nonprofit to have these. These are too good just to put on the side of the street. And I was just like, oh man, I wish I was in a stable place right now, because I would get them. But the place that I'm looking into is already furnished, so I'm not gonna really need any of my furniture, and I'm gonna be getting rid of a whole lot of it. But the point is, those types of things do not have to be difficult to come by when the time is right and when you need them. All right, so educational supplies, make sure you stock up, Staples, Classroom Direct, Amazon, eBay. These are all places where I've in the past gotten certain things. And of course, I definitely stay on top of sales and so forth. I've even had a lot of success with people donating, right? Don't go overdo it, because sometimes as teachers, we can do that. I have also found a good use for color paper. I love color paper. We've integrated that a lot. I also at one point had a membership at BJ's. I no longer have it at BJ's, but I do have it at Costco. And then if you have a Sam's Club, one of those wholesale places, if you want to go like just get snacks. I tried to have snacks on hand just in case some of my students did not bring their lunch. Occasionally, if I wanted to sell it to them, I may have done that, but I didn't make a practice of that. It was more so I wanted to have something on hand in case
somebody didn't bring their lunch or snack, and or I gave them prizes for just, you know, good behavior or doing good stuff. Technology. So you might need some computers. Are you going to provide them, or are you going to ask your students to provide their own? I think at this point, if you don't have a big budget, you ask them to bring them. Most kids already have something that they can bring in and that they can use. I do have laptops right now. I got an excellent deal on them because I have a technology guy. He's my computer guy. He usually see me once or twice a year, and he usually come by computers that he's probably gotten for free, and then he refurbished them and then sell them to me for something that I can afford. I also use the TV. You know, I bought a flat screen like two on Black Friday, and it's the kind that you can use I think it's called an Ethernet cord that plug right up into your computer. So I made my teacher station where I could plug from the computer to the TV, and then it became my projection board, right? So whatever was on my computer, my students was able to see it via the TV as well as use that audio, and that really saved me tons and tons of money, right? Telephones. I use just a regular old cell phone that I have, and I use it as a second line, and that's the number for the school that people contact me on. So it was a lot cheaper than actually having a phone line put in. And of course, internet, I had to use or get it. So that's another cost that you want to figure in, because not too much occurs without the internet. Now, one building that I was in for a time period, there was an issue and we could not get internet. So what I did was I purchased something that I could use through my phone, and we use my phone's internet, or however that works.
All right, guys, so that's it. I hope you found this really helpful and insightful. If you have any questions, go ahead on and drop them below. Occasionally, I do live Q&As. So if you want to know when our next live Q&A is gonna be and how you can participate, make sure you look in the description below and sign up for our newsletter. Now, when you sign up for that newsletter, you also gonna get this fantabulous checklist. Matter of fact, it's a year, things that you can do within a year's time frame that will lead you to being able to open your school by the next school calendar year. So go ahead, sign up for that newsletter, grab that. And last but not least, thank you guys so much for supporting my channel as well as the other content that I produce. Here's the next video in the series.